Welcome back, episode 53 of Kane's Local. A lot to get to this week. Tough road trip, back home with a win, and Four Nations break coming up, and 3 stars and much more. We'll get to that shortly. So first, let's talk about the road trip. Man, I tell you, it was I E for effort, but doesn't result in W's. So I was tired of hearing about E for effort because it doesn't mean anything. It's like a on a stationary bike. You pedal your ass off and sweat, and then you get nowhere. So we'll chat in about those 2 games. I mean, coming, 3-game skid, and but I think, you know, there's a lot to unpack with this team right now. So let's start with the 2 road games. Winnipeg starting and then into Minnesota. So what's the takeaway from the Winnipeg game?
I mean, just can't put the puck in the net.
Yeah.
The bottom line. Every year we go to Winnipeg, it seems like we can't put the puck in the net. So I don't know if they get after it with Jarvis's family before the night before or what happens, but we completely lose our scoring because I think this is the second year in a row we've been shut out in Winnipeg. So I'm pretty sure Bressois shut us out last year in Winnipeg.
Yeah, he did.
So it's just I don't know. Something's in the water. Now, granted, Winnipeg's a good hockey team. That's a really good team. That's a tough city to play in because nobody ever really wants to go to Winnipeg. It's minus 58 degrees outside year round, it feels like. But there may be a little exaggeration there. But it's I mean, it was ranked the number one. If teams or if players, they did a poll on I forget who did the poll. Players Tribune or something like that, but they did a poll and they asked like 100 guys and they're like, if you could put one team on your no trade list, who's that one? Or if if you could put one team on your no trade list, who was that one team? It's like 70% of them said Winnipeg. They don't want it, but like it just goes to kind of show it's a hard city to play in. It's a hard place to play in. I'm not making excuses because we got to put the puck in the net and we got to get a save as well too. So just I don't think any of the goals were necessarily Kochetkov's fault in that game, but if you get a highlight reel save and all of a sudden it's only a 1-goal game, and then maybe the tides turn a little bit. So it's kind of a calamity, but at the end of the day, if you score 0 goals, you're never going to win a hockey game. So the offense just never showed up in that one, and it's kind of replicated in Minnesota as well too. But Cam, I'll let you kind of go over Winnipeg as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just special teams too. I mean, can't put the puck in the net on the power play and get 2 on you.
Can't keep it out on the PK either. Yeah,
can't keep it out on the PK either. It's rough for sure. I mean, obviously they had the bounce back game at home, but they got to figure out the road. Man, I don't know what's going on. Like they can't. It's just a struggle to score and win on the road. It feels like. I don't know. It's weird, but they one goal for the whole road trip is not good.
No.
Yeah.
It's not good enough. Like that needs to be better. They got 1 in Minnesota in the dying minutes. Basically, they scored in the last 2. I think 2.5 minutes. Aho ended up scoring when they had the goalie pulled. So yeah, it's interesting for sure. It's been a tough transition for Rantanen for sure too, because the team hasn't been playing great as a team either. Obviously, last night, unfortunately, Rantanen was out of the lineup, but they played their best game they played in probably 2 or 3 weeks, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Obviously it's not Rantanen. He's not the problem. It's just the team as itself. I don't know where the disconnect is when he's in the lineup versus not in the lineup. I don't know if they need to run 11 and 7 from here on out and just have Rantanen as like the auxiliary winger that's just playing like every other shift kind of thing to get him those minutes that he got in Colorado, so then we can get all the keyboard warriors off of him. Like he only played 4, he played 4 more minutes in Colorado. That's why he had more points. So just play him more if you want. That's fine. I mean, obviously he's good enough to play more. He showed he could in Colorado. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if he plays in Four Nations. specifically for Rantanen, and then B, how they come back after that and kind of how the line combinations look. Because obviously the line of Jarvis, Blake, and Aho last night looked really good. So do you break that up? And I think you throw Rantanen on I guess the second line, if you want to call it that. I don't know, Rod doesn't like the number lines,
They
but
play the
you
same
throw him on
minutes,
there with,
basically.
yeah, you play him there with Svech and Kokaniemi. I think that line could be really good. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's where, honestly, that's and Triple disagree with all three of us because he thinks that he needs to be stuck right to hip with Aho. He thinks they're starting to generate, they're starting to get each other, but man, I don't see it.
No.
I think there was more chemistry between Aho, or excuse me, between Rantanen and Blake.
Blake, yeah.
So I think
The issue is
putting
Blake just couldn't put the freaking puck in the net, so that's why
No,
Rod
I
took
know,
him off
I
the
know.
line. It was just
know.
that.
No, I know, but he does so many. Here's the hard part with him. He does so many other things really, really good.
100%.
So I mean, you need a guy like that on the line. He's sort of like a higher skilled, much higher skilled version of Martinook. He's aggressive. He's on the puck. He's defensively responsible. But man, when but the thing is, when he gets the right combo, he's going to start scoring goals.
Yeah.
And I think he's just been bounced around a lot. And but I think for Rantanen, he's just. And here's my 2 cents on that where we are at this point in the season. I look at it, the tortoise and the hare. You look at Marty Necas, he's lighting it up in Colorado. But I think over the long haul, I think the Rantanen fit's going to be better over the long haul. So I know we said be patient. We're getting close to that point where people are going to run out of that. But I do think that once we figure that out, and I think everybody's trying to filter everything, trying to get him and looking for we got to get the pressure off him to be the guy. Because he's supposed to be the
last
guy.
night. Yeah.
He's supposed to be the guy.
Lineup. Yeah.
But
put it on Jarvis.
Take it off. I think Jarvie is our guy right now. And Aho finally got off his schneid last night and really contributed. He's been contributing, don't get me wrong, but I think
that was the most Aho game I've seen of him all season, though.
Yeah.
Where it's like that was Sebastian Aho. And just in his full form, that was Aho. And I don't think we had seen that piece throughout the year. And I think that's also hurting. Can we also not forget that just in that LA game less than a week ago, Rod said he wasn't sure who was going to even be in the lineup because of the illnesses and stuff like that going around. So that doesn't happen overnight and that doesn't switch overnight. And then when you're adding travel into that and jet lag, there's a lot of things that could have it's not the ideal start for Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah.
I think he comes in, he never thought he was going to leave Colorado. He never thought he was going to leave that city. All of a sudden, turned on his head. He's in a new city. He was talking about re-signing with Colorado. He was talking about possibly taking even a little bit more of a team-friendly deal to stay with Colorado. Wanted to be there. All of a sudden, he gets a phone call from his GM saying he's traded to the Carolina Hurricanes. Next day, he's on a flight playing in Carolina. And then, with really no time to adjust, the whole team starts getting sick. And then all of a sudden, you're playing 11 forwards, 7 defensemen half the games, where Mikko has no chance to really sit with a guy or a line for an extended period of time and start to learn it. The other thing, too, the reason why Marty Necas is lighting it up and Mikko's not, their two roles completely shifted in what they do. When Marty Necas was a Carolina Hurricane, we were looking for him to be the guy. And that's a lot of pressure. Yeah, maybe not as much pressure as like an original six or as like a team like Colorado with the history and all that kind of stuff. But when Mikko was in Colorado, he was not ever, yes, at times when McKinnon was out, he was expected to be the guy, and he was always kind of one of the guys. He was one of the three-headed monster. But when you have Nathan McKinnon as your first-line center, as the second best player in the world, you're not the guy in Colorado. There's a guy ahead of you. So now all of a sudden, Marty Necas goes over to Colorado. All the weight on his shoulders is lifted off. He doesn't need to be the guy because he has Nathan McKinnon playing alongside him. Also, when you're receiving passes from Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar, you're gonna get points. It's just a matter of time. All you got to do is put the puck to one of the two of them, let them skate up the ice full pace. You're gonna grab assists left, right, and center. I'm not saying that was all Mikko Rantanen was doing in Colorado. I really don't think that was. but it's an adjustment period going from being kind of the 1A or 1B, maybe 1C really when you're looking at it, because I think Kale's even maybe above Rantanen just in the overall rating of the sport, not by much, but just in it. Now all of a sudden he comes to a team where he's the number one guy. He's the guy everybody's looking to when you're down a goal in a game. He's the guy that you're looking to when you need a power play goal and the power play is not buzzing. In Colorado, that's always been Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar. Mikko was added into that list, but again, when the Colorado's power play is not going, yeah, you look at the three-headed monster, but you're really looking at two guys and really one guy. You're saying, what's going on? Why isn't Nate producing? That's the difference. Now all of a sudden we're here. Mikko, why aren't you producing? Mikko, what's this? Guys, take a breath. It's a learning process. And yeah, we want to say that a 28-year-old guy's got it all figured out. Promise you, he doesn't. Like there's shit going on that he's still learning in life as well too. And that's a whole different ball game where all of a sudden you're thrusted into the limelight of expected to now not all of a sudden compliment Nathan MacKinnon. You're expected to go head to head with Nathan MacKinnon in the points race, in the goal scoring department. If we meet in playoffs, you're supposed to be the guy that takes him out. Like you're all of a sudden the guy on a team. There's a lot more pressure built into that. So just give him some time. He will figure it out. I don't have worries with him. The thing that was struggling me more than anything else, the team around him was not playing well. So for a guy to try and come in and adjust and learn a new system when the team around him is playing poorly, that's hard to do. That's hard. Yeah. If Mikko was plugged in last night, promise he's probably got 4 points. He probably does, because if you put Aho and Jarvis,
he probably would have a couple. I think he'd have a goal and at least a 2. He'd have a goal assist.
I mean, you put him with those two, with Jarvis and Aho of last night, you put him on a line with that. He doesn't necessarily need to be the number one guy in that situation. It allows him to learn a little bit more and adapt to our systems and learn, hey, when Aho's playing at his best, this is what I can expect out of him. But we haven't seen the connection with the rest of the team because we haven't been playing well. And I think a lot of that has to do with injury. It's a new guy, new system. It always takes a couple games anyways. And now all of a sudden you add in the fact that he hasn't played with anybody consistently. We're good. He's good. I promise. I don't want to keep harping, but he's good. Just relax. The rest of the team we need to talk about, but him, relax. He's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the other thing too, and I don't know if you guys read the comment, and let me get your take on it, is Rod, his pregame about whether Rantanen was going to play or not. And it was almost like it insinuated that, and that's why I want your take on what was said. He basically said that it looked like he could go. It was up to him. He decided not to go. And it was almost like Rod was saying, I don't think he was hurt. He could have gone. He just did choose not to go. So what are your thoughts there? Because he took a shot off the inside of the knee. I get it. You see it, and I've been hit there before too, and I know it hurts like hell. So what are your I don't know if you guys saw the comment, but it was sort of led you down the path that Rod was like, basically, I think he could have gone, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Rod also kind of downplays injuries too, like generally. So, I mean, you look at the Jack Drury, the Tyson Jost, you look
Freddie
at
Anderson
the
originally. Freddie was supposed to be
like
week to
Freddie,
week.
yeah. It was all just like, oh, he's a little banged up, but we don't expect it to be a long-term thing.
He's out 4 months.
And then he's out for 4 months. So I think that's a Rod thing. I'm honest, I'm not going to read that much into it. I mean, listen, if he wasn't 100% and he was like, look, I'm not 100%, like I'm going to be a detriment to the team if I play.
Mm-hmm.
And he made that decision on his own, I'd have no problem with it. Like, at the end of the day, if you feel that you're going to hurt the team versus help them, I get it. You make that decision for sure. Now, again, maybe it was part of that and part, mental reset of like, hey, let me get through this. And then, we'll go to hopefully he'll play in the Four Nations. I still want him to play in Four Nations. Like, I don't want him to withdraw or anything. So I need him. That's the other thing. It's like I don't want this to become like, oh well, he didn't play Saturday and he's playing in Four Nations today. It's like no. I want him to play there. Like we need him to play.
Yeah.
Need him to get some confidence. So hopefully that'll, because again, apparently the Finns are like the dead last in the betting or whatever with, actually winning the tournament or whatever. It's so far gone at this point. So I hope they win, and I hope he goes and lights the world on fire, because then he's going to come back hot. So that's what you want.
So yeah, that was gonna.
But I'm not going to read too much into it.
I got 2 points on this. So the first one, I 100% agree with Cam. If he's even remotely kind of nursing something to where it's an injury that could possibly get worse, I'd rather him sit the one game out against Utah than miss Four Nations, because I'm with Cam 100%. He needs confidence right now. And as much as I want to say that he's going to get it solely inside of the Hurricanes locker room, right now it's not working. So you put him inside of he's fighting for his nation now. And that's the thing that we're kind of forgetting. Crosby sat out the past 2 games because he was banged up with something. He's still going to Four Nations. Doughty sat out the last game because he didn't want to, like, he was just resting up basically. A lot of these guys, this is right now, their eye is more focused on Four Nations than it is on the Stanley Cup. And I'm just going to be dead true with you, because they haven't had this most of these guys. Aho has never played in any significant tournament for Finland. Barkov's never played in any significant tournament for Finland. Like Mikko never
outside of World Juniors.
Yeah, outside of junior
stuff.
stuff.
Yes. But you know what I'm like, best tournament where you can win gold. Think about all the great moments. Think about even the world or the World Cup of Hockey. Canada versus Team Europe in the finals. Fucking Marchand shorthanded goal ends up being the game. Like Crosby golden goal. Just think about all these unbelievable moments that these guys build. I'm if Rantanen was like, hey, I think I could end up getting injured a little bit worse. Don't really want that going into Four Nations. Perfect. You know what? A game in February against Utah when we're comfortably right now inside of a playoff spot, I could give less than 2 shits. Like,
I think
completely.
I think too, that's
one final point I just want to make real quick. Sorry. I think it was actually a benefit for him to go sit up in the press box and actually watch the game from an aerial head view. So I don't think it's going to be a bad thing, because he got to see us play in a different light than he had seen us play before. So he's looking from up top. He's actually seeing us play well. Guess what he's doing that whole time? Yeah, maybe he could have played 100%. Maybe he should have played. Okay, that's some people's opinions. I don't disagree. But I think it's going to be very crucial that when he comes back in the lineup, whenever we're back, I can't remember the exact day, but when he comes back into the lineup, he's going to know, hey, when Aho's playing his best and Jarvis is playing his best, Jarvis likes to do this, Aho likes to do this. I know this little space is going to be open. I know they're going to be looking in that space. That's something that you struggle sometimes to find when you're in the game trying to process it in real time. But when you have a bird's eye view of everything above it, I mean, sometimes it can be a crucial fit. Look at, we sat Svechnikov last year for a game. He watched above. I think when he came back, he had like 10 points through 4 games or something like that. Like, it can make a massive difference. Okay, that's my ramble. Okay, Dad, go ahead with whatever you were going to say. Sorry.
Nope, Cam was on deck.
Oh, Cam, go ahead. Whatever you were going to say.
He completely forgot what he was going to say.
I already forgot, so go ahead.
It was going to be about Rantanen and Four Nations, I'm presuming. But
yeah. But anyways, if he remembers, we'll get back to it. But I think, and we'll leave the Rantanen topic here. But I think everybody let's not forget that we played a lot of hockey in the month of December and the month of January. So I think the Four Nations break for the team as a whole,
massive.
It couldn't come at a better time for us. Because of the mental reset, the physical reset, especially, and I think Tripp said it yesterday, especially for the older guys, the Jordan Stahls, the Jordan Martinuks, and Gostisbehere. I don't think he's played his best hockey as of late.
Since coming back from injury, he's struggled.
Right. So sure. I think these 2 weeks are going to help, or 10 days, whatever it is, but these are really going to help those guys. And I'm excited to see how we come back out of the break. Because I think that'll really be a telltale sign as who we are as a team going forward, and how we project ourselves into the playoffs. And so it couldn't have come at a better time for us, anyways, as a team. I'm sure other teams have the same argument, but But I think, we're in a situation where this is a good break for us. But again, Aho and Rantanen, I think the chemistry development there is going to be crucial. Not maybe not chemistry, but the confidence. Especially to your point, guys, for Mikko. I think he wants to be productive. He wants to contribute, and he's struggling. You can see him. He's frustrated. His shots, he's banging a stick on the ice because he knows he's better than that.
Yep.
And if he didn't do that, I think Tripp said it yesterday, he wouldn't care, and he does care.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing. So anyway, so we'll hop off him, and we'll jump back a little bit into Four Nations, but let's really talk a little bit here, maybe I don't know 5-10 minutes on the dumpster fire that is our power play.
Hey, we got a goal last night. What are you talking about?
We did, but what did we do?
We're fixed. We're fixed.
Yeah, but what did we do though? I mean, we
I
changed.
know.
We changed it. We
Yeah.
took Aho off the flipping wall and put him into that bumper spot, and he created that space and for Jarvis, he created that space.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference. Subliminally, we sent messages. I was screaming at the television. I said, "Get him off the freaking wall," because he doesn't do any good on the wall. And I think having Jarvie on there, and I think having Jarvis and Blake, I think was, even though they're the same player, really, but they're shifty. They're good on the wall. They can get it. I mean, Blake can get in and out of traffic and can come up with a puck. He's like a magician sometimes. I don't get it, but he's not putting the puck in the net, but he creates turnovers.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think you need that kind of speed on the power play. So I hope it changes. I hope it stays, and I hope we start generating a little bit more, because that was our Achilles heel on the road trip. We get absolutely run off the ice on the power play.
By just
Yeah.
special teams in general, really. That was
In general,
that was I mean, especially in that Winnipeg game for sure. The issue with our power play is just we get way too stationary, and we don't have somebody that can. Unfortunately, we got rid of the one person that could kind of bring the puck all the way from our zone into the offensive zone without really getting touched. I mean, you look at the elite power plays in the league, or go to Tampa. The reason why Tampa's power play is so elite is because they got a one-man zone entry. Getting into the zone is 90% of the battle. Once you're in the zone, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now we have a decent chance of scoring because we can set up and we can actually do something. But if look at why Carolina's power or PK is so good, because we stop them at the blue line. We just shut them down right away, and we don't allow them to gain access, and they have to dump it in order to gain access. And then all of a sudden we have a retriever to go grab the puck and just fire it back down the ice and start the whole process over again. We had one, probably, I would say, maybe top 15, top 10 zone entry guys as far as just on the power play with speed. Natchez, I mean, yes, he turned the puck over still a lot, but there's probably not that many guys that could do what he does as far as just with pure speed, take the puck all the way from goal line to goal line without anybody really being able to get like a body on him. But it then goes back to the fact of, okay, so that's out the window. Now we got to find something different. We got to come up with a new strategy and a new way of doing it. I think, like you said, Dad, Jackson Blake is a perfect replacement for that aspect. He just the only issue I have with it is once we do get set up in the zone, I don't like the fact that one of the two guys, either Blake or Jarvis, is going to be our net front screen. Because with all due respect to both of those guys, they're tiny. And majority of the goalies are going to be able to stand on their skates and see the puck directly over top of them. So it's just like, that's where I still like Svetch being on that top unit, or KK or somebody else, but get some frame in there. That's the only problem I have with it. Outside of that, I thought they did look good. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, I think the thing that Canes have been missing too is that right-handed one-timer threat that Natchez brought. And again, Jarvis scored off the one-timer. So that's kind of what they've been missing. They, so many lefties can only get you so far, because at a certain point, it's kind of, as a defenseman, it's easier on the power play if you're like, okay, there's all lefties. Okay, well, we can basically ignore the side of the ice because we know they're not going to one-time the puck.
Yeah.
So we can cheat a little bit further to this side of the ice because we know this is their one-time threat is on this side. So, and they could just cut off passing lanes as well. It makes it a little bit easier. So having that threat, hopefully moving forward, is hopefully going to be a good
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, they've been missing that, especially since Nate just left. So it's I think that was part of it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a struggle because we still need to. I mean, God, we still need a defenseman that can do that.
Yeah.
And I don't. I mean, I don't know if it's Ghost or Burns. I mean,
After break, you got
kind
to
of
give.
grasping at straws here with the defenseman to put on the
I'm
line.
telling you
so.
right now, after the break, Four Nations break, you got to give Ghost another look.
You do.
You got.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be. I'm not saying it's going to be fixed. I'm not saying it's going to be 100%. You just have to. You have to allocate him another look on that top unit. Brent Burns is Brent Burns. I love him for what he has done for us, everything like that. He's on the 19th hole of his 18-hole career, so he's on the back burner. It just I don't want. He could be a second guy line unit, sure. In all reality, you really want me to kind of, if we are playing the kind of the same system we're playing where we are playing 7 defensemen, put Morrow on that top unit. Let's try it. Hey, the guy's leading defenseman in goals in the AHL. That's not easy to do. Let's put him up there because he's got a shot. He has the offensive
he's not running the
capability.
power play.
What was that?
He's not running the power play in the AHL either.
No.
I think it's Seeley.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Hey, listen, give him a shot, man. And I've
just throw him out there. Let's see. It can't get any worse. What we give up a shorty?
Yeah, that's what I mean. What are they going to do? Not score? Well, we've been not scoring for 3 months. So, what's it going to change?
We have to try something.
Give him a chance.
Yes.
I agree.
Good God. But
no, and I think the other thing too, to your point though, Kyle, is that, and I think by having Aho in that bumper spot though, it gives you that option for net front because really on Jarvy's goal, he collapsed and he created the net front.
But there wasn't really net front. It was more of a shot that just beat the goalie.
And, well, yeah, but he collapsed though. He brought all the traffic down into the front of the net.
Yep.
So Vermelka had to battle his way through traffic, whether it be his guy or our guy. But Aho created that by collapsing to the net. So I think that's the option that Aho really, he needs to be in that damn bumper spot every freaking power play.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
He doesn't need to move anywhere else. And I think, but he does. I agree with you. We need some big bodies in front of the net.
Yes,
we do. But I think when he collapses, he creates that just organically with their defensemen, their forwards, their penalty killers. So I mean, it's a great shot.
Yeah, but with all due respect, there are a lot better goalies in the NHL that can see through traffic than Karl Vermelka. So that's where I'm getting at. It's again, I don't think the traffic was 100% amazing. I think that yes, there was some traffic. I think the shot just beat Vermelka more or less clean through. I think Vermelka, while not having a direct sight line on the pass, I think on the shot he had a direct sight line on it. You put Igor Shesterkin in that position. As much as I love Seth Jarvis, he's not scoring that. We need somebody to take a look at Svechnikov's first goal against Igor in the last game that we played against him. Whose ass is parked right in front of him, and Igor has no chance of seeing the puck. That's what you have to do to beat the elite goalies in the NHL. And like I said, as much as I agree, Aho bumper spot 100%. He creates a little bit more chaos. He's not a half wall guy. He is a bumper spot guy. He needs to be quick twitch. He needs to be quick movement. That's his game. And I think when he gets on the half wall, he tries to slow it down too much, and he ends up stop moving. He stops moving altogether, and then he gets very stagnant. So put him in the bumper spot where he's got to make quick decisions. That's going to be his best game. But we got to have somebody a little bit bigger. So I don't know who comes off the. I'm not putting Mikko net front because he's too good on one side. So we got to keep.
I'm fine putting Svech net.
That's what I'm saying. But it's just
the goal line.
Is it Jarvis or Blake that comes off? Because I don't disagree with that. I think Blake adds a.
Oh, it's Blake.
But Blake adds the dimension to that. But yes, Jarvis also does too with the goal scoring. So
yeah, it is Blake.
Yeah.
So I mean, as we can sit here and wonder who it's going to be, but it's Blake.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Blake that goes bumped down to the second because again, they're not going to want to break up the Jarvis Aho chemistry basically, and I think Svech provides that net front or goal line. Because again, if everybody's cheating up top and Svech has the puck down the goal line, he's shown that he can just literally basically drive the
Yeah.
hoop. He like just goes right to the net and can, put it in. He's scored on a power play doing that
It's
already
his
this
best
year.
Charles
So
Barkley impression. So
that's what I
just
mean.
drive it to
Like
the
he just
paint.
goes right for it. So again, if they give him the space, he'll take it. And I think that's important to have for sure. Because I mean, not that I don't think Blake would do that, but Svech also brings the big body as
Yeah.
well that he can put in front of the goalie's eyes.
Yeah,
So
that's the bigger thing. But especially from the power side and on the to the front of the net, he's really he's gotten back to his game.
So the only reason I always say KK is just because Svech has come to my annoyance a few times where he is a 6'3" frame and he still refuses to go to the actual front of the net and he stands on the side and doesn't really ever take the eyes away. That's where I lose it with Svech a little bit, is because while yes, you are technically net front, you're not doing what the net front needs to do. We haven't had that level of net front since Steph Nason left. So it's just like
the
net front. The reason why our power play was so elite the past couple of years is Steph Nason was a vital piece to that, because when the goalie can't see the puck, he can't see the puck. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. So
yeah, agreed. Sorry, you caught me mid coffee.
Mid coffee sip.
Golly, so you jumped right out of that one pretty quick.
Yeah, no,
so,
I've
I think
gone on too many rants today. I can't keep going.
Yeah, I know. You're Kyle Rantanen. So so anyway, so I think the power play, I think we'll leave it at this, and we'll just we'll send our notes to Rod and make sure that he gets it all in there, and say Aho stays at the bumper spot.
I think somebody inside the Canes organization, they listen, because every time we bring up something, I feel like it starts to happen. We had Brent Burns net front. All of a sudden, mid-season, they're practicing Brent Burns net front. A couple of them that.
Yeah, I think they only did that like once or twice.
Well, they saw the stupidity behind it. That was not one of our better takes. I'll tell you that for free.
No, but I think I said net front the bumper spot. For Ahos, keep his ass there, because that's where he belongs and that's where he's most effective.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, we'll see what happens. It bared fruit last night, and we'll see what it does, to your point, Kyle, against a little bit more of an elite goaltender. But hey, nothing against Karl Vejmelka, but he's played well against us. I tell you,
generally,
there's been the last handful of games that he's absolutely stoned us. He stoned us in Utah. And then last year, I think he came in and absolutely ripped us apart in Carolina. So
yeah, you want to know the difference? We have a lot of different offensive weapons than we did in years past. Now, granted, it was the same offensive weapons.
Oh, this was last year.
No,
this was last year.
I know, but you look at last year's forward group to this year's forward group, it's a different forward group. There's definitely some significant changes to our forward lineup. That's all I'm kind of getting at, is that year over year, the more times you play a goalie, the guys don't have the. I was honestly surprised that all of our offense came from Aho and Jarvis, because I figured out of everybody, those two would be the ones that got stonewalled by Vejmelka. But I wasn't too worried, because I was like, oh, Jack Roslovic will score a couple, or like Nick Robinson will score a couple, or Eric Robinson. I'm never gonna get the names right.
Yeah, he's gonna be forever Nick to you. I don't know why. That's his locker room name.
I listen to Biz too much. He's always harping on Nick Robinson and the Leafs, but no, when the offensive group changes as much as it did, I don't have as much like, oh, the goalie always stonewalls us in the past, because it's like you're seeing completely different weapons. All of a sudden, it's a different guy who doesn't have that same mindset of, oh, Karl Vejmelka always robs me. But the fact that Aho and Jarvis were two of the guys that went out and put up all the points, that's happy, because now every time Karl Vejmelka comes to play, if he's in the lineup, Aho is going to be confident as all get out, because he's in. I know I got this guy. I own him now. So
yeah. So anyway, we'll hop off power play, but Rod, bumper spot for Aho, and bring Ghost back to the top unit after the Four Nations break, and
especially if you have a right-handed shot in Jarvis, it makes sense if Aho's playing the other side to have Burns just for a different 1T option. But if you have Jarvis playing that outside, put Ghost back up there. He's better than Burns. As bad as he's been playing too, he's better than Burns still.
Yeah. So anyways, we'll see. Nice break for the team. Four Nations. So what do you guys? I'm really excited to see a couple of things coming out of Four Nations, but I'm really gonna. I mean, he's been playing lights out anyways, but I just want to see the next level for Seth Jarvis once he comes out of Four Nations, because I think of the group that's going to Four Nations, I think he's gonna be the one that benefits the most from it, given his age and who he's playing, who he's seeing on a day in and day out basis. So what do you where are you guys what are you guys looking forward to out of the Four Nations group that's heading from our group?
Just one quick thing. I think Jarvis, and then Cam, I'll pass it over to you. This is kind of my only thing I have on that question in particular. I think, yes, Jarvis probably benefits the most long term. I think short term benefit that if Mikko puts up 10 points through this tournament, that's going to be the best thing in the world for any Carolina Hurricane fan to see because confidence will be back. So I think there's a lot to benefit for him in this tournament as well, too. Jacob Slavin's going to be Jacob Slavin. And Aho is going to be Aho. Aho's got confidence right now. Cool. He's going to have confidence when he comes back. But yeah, I think Jarvis going into the locker room and being able to learn from Sidney Crosby, Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, Drew Doughty. You're learning from, Sam Bennett. You're learning from the Pest as well, too. You got Brad Marchand on your other, as your kind of cohort in the small man department. But, I'm excited to see what he learns long term because I think a lot of it's going to come down to how you prepare every day, the requirement, the skill requirement it takes, what effort it takes to actually get ready to play at that level. I think that's going to be the most crucial piece of it for Jarvis. But like I said, I think Rantanen has every opportunity for this being as crucial for him as well, too, if he lights it up.
Yeah, have they given a lineup yet as to who may play alongside whom yet?
No, it's been a lot of suggested lineups, and I was gonna say that I wouldn't mind kind of peeking through a couple of the teams real quick, and then we can do. I guess I don't know what next week's show is gonna look like. It'll probably be a breakdown of actual Four Nations, but I'm interested to see who our guys would pair up with because a lot of people have Jarvis on the third line of Team Canada with Marner and Marchand.
Okay.
No, not Marner. It's
I was about to say who's the center on that line.
Point and Marner. Sorry. Braden Point and Mitch Marner with Jarvis. That's what I've seen. On that third Canada line, which Jarvis will go get the puck out of the corner, feed it over to Marner. Marner will find Point. That's seems like that's gonna put a couple goals in the net anyways.
Yeah,
if that's the lineup.
Not a ton of size in that line though.
No, but you got to also look at who Braden Point plays with typically. He never plays with size. He plays with Nikita Kucherov and Jake Gensel, so that's two smaller guys as well too. I mean, outside Marner plays with Matthews. I guess Marner is going to be the one that probably has actually Jarvis because he's playing with two mammoths right now. He's playing with Martinook and Stalzy. But yeah, there's not a ton of size on that line, but you look at their fourth line, it's going to be Sam Bennett, Brock Nelson, and I forget who the other guy's going to be, but it's going to be another big guy. So, I mean, they have size throughout their lineup. I just think that that's going to be probably an offensive weapon. I could also see Jarvis playing on fourth line for that team as well, too, just with how much skill they have.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Jarvis even said it. He's like, I'll play defenseman. I don't really care where you put me. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't really care where I play also, or whatever.
Wouldn't be surprised if he's in the press box for a game or two, just FYI.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, honestly. Like, I think he's going to be the rotation guy. He's kind of going to be he's one of those guys. He's just happy to be there. Like, and I think that you need guys like that, like on those teams for sure. But as far as I obviously I think it's going to be hopefully good for everybody and not detrimental to anybody. I'm not going to say why, but I'm hoping it's good. At the end of the day, I think it's probably going to be. Out of all four teams, I think the U.S. has probably the best team,
top to bottom, 100%. Yeah,
I think Canada has arguably the better offense, possibly, but Canada's goaltending, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
You throw a bag over your head, and you probably could be better than those three guys that they got up on Team Canada.
I mean, you got Aiden Hill, and Aiden Hill's your number one guy. Then you got
Aiden Hill's your number one, and he's playing like garbage. And then you got Jordan Binnington, and
then you got Stan Montembeault.
Yeah. You want to know
what joker selected those three? I don't know.
You want to know something though? And just bear with me here. Jordan Binnington in meaningful games. You look at every time he's in playoffs, he has elite numbers. Yeah, his regular season numbers don't always match, but when he has a meaningful game ahead of him, he almost stole the series against Dallas, I think 2 years ago, because they didn't make playoffs last year, but it was him that almost stole that series. And he had like a 9.24 save percentage. I would not be shocked if Jordan Binnington's the number one guy for Canada. Would not be shocked if he puts up pretty good numbers as well, too. I don't think it's going to be Canada's goaltending is terrible. I think it's going to be their goaltending was their weakest link, but I don't think it's going to be terrible. Now, granted, I think they left their best goalie at home for some reason, and that's Logan Thompson. But we digress.
Yeah. So here's the Canadian lineup. So I got the proposed forward lines, and Jarvie is the sort of the press box guy at this point.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So let me ask you a question. What media source are you getting this from?
NHL.
The NHL. Okay, so they're going to put Jarvis at the bottom because according to the NHL, he is the least, the worst of the players there. So yes, I don't actually think he's going to be in the press box majority of the games.
I don't either. I'm just saying
yes,
this is how they're lining it up. So they got McDavid, Crosby, and McKinnon.
That's not going to be a line.
That's what they have as number one. They have Reinhart. I'm just telling you what they give me.
No, I know
Kyle.
I know. I'm saying McKinnon and Crosby will play together, but Crosby and McDavid are going to be number one, number two centers.
So then you got but look who else you have down the middle. You got Sam Reinhart, Mitch Marner, and Brad Marchand as the second group. Braden Point, Mark Stone, Brendan Hagel, Anthony Cirelli, Travis Konechny, and Sam Bennett on the fourth line with Jarvie as the extra forward. So I mean, I could see you moving Sid or McDavid to the middle of the ice. But you also got Reinhart, Braden Point, and Anthony Cirelli. So I mean, do you really need to?
Yeah. So what I do, and this is just my Crosby and McKinnon can either go. It's going to be a 1A, 1B situation. The top two lines for Canada are going to play a ton of minutes, and they're going to probably play very equal minutes.
Yeah.
I see McKinnon and Crosby being on a line. Probably in my personal opinion, I think they put the Nova Scotia line together. I think it's going to be McKinnon, Crosby, and Marchand on a line as your second unit, quote unquote. And then I think your top unit is going to be McDavid with Reinhart and who's the other left winger kind of top guy? You have the roster.
I mean,
yeah. Sorry, I went to another roster.
Oh,
I don't really know, honestly. I mean, I know like a handful of guys for Canada. I mean, I think it's probably going to be two lines for Canada. I mean, I just think they're going to get their boat raced by the United States. I think the United States is too good. They're too good offensively, too good defensively. Their goaltending trio is the best that is even. It's not even close.
Yeah, that one. That would I agree. In net, where the U.S. is by far
the U.S. is. I mean, you got
Connor Hellebuyck, you got Ottinger,
Hellebuck,
and then Swayman.
So, that's what I mean.
Yeah, when Jeremy Swayman's your third option, that's your deep.
I know. That's what I mean. Like you're probably in a good spot, and we know how well Swayman plays when he has elite goaltending beside of him. So that's another thing
He's
too.
Still
is like
probably
I think you're going to see the best.
Yeah,
no, I still have him as third. Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I mean, I think Sweden's got a pretty good team. I think Finland's better than Sweden, but
so here's the Swedish projected lineup. So first line would be Zivanejad, Forsberg, and Nylander, and then you got Elias Pettersson, Jesper Bratt, and Andre Kempe.
Adrian Kempe,
and then William Karlsson, Lucas Raymond, and Leo Carlsson. And then the fourth line
in Finland, I can tell you that already.
So Joel Eriksson Ek, alongside Elias Lindholm and Fabian Zetterlund.
Yeah.
So they have a pretty good.
When Joel Eriksson Ek is your fourth line center, you got a deep unit. Well, quote unquote. I don't think he probably that's one of those lineups. I don't think Joel Eriksson Ek actually plays.
That is a tough name to say.
It is.
It stumbles me every single time.
I don't think he
try to say
plays fourth line center, but I just like when you're laying it out like that, it definitely sounds like a deep unit. I mean, granted. I mean, I'm looking at the forward. They got Lundell, Barkov, Aho, Hintz, Listerainen, Armia, Halla, Lehkonen, Granlund, Kakko, Teravainen, Line, and Rantanen. That's not a bad lineup either. But I just you look at Sweden's. Their fourth line center is going to probably be Granlund or Listerinen, I'm probably taking Eriksson Ek over either one of those guys. Just if we're looking at like a 1-for-1 match. I understand why Finland is rated the lowest. Now, granted, the one thing about Finland that most other countries don't, those guys are dogs when it comes to playing for that Finnish flag. They are dogs. So they're not the worst team in my mind, no doubt. I think roster-wise, technically speaking, I think they're they have the least amount of top quality NHL players.
So here's the. You guys want the finished projected lineup?
We'll do the finish to finish.
Yep.
To finish it.
We'll finish to finish.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal. So they got Barkov alongside Rantanen and Michael Granlund. Then Aho slots in the second spot with Kakko and Lehkonen, which I think could be a really good.
Yeah. Put line A instead of Kakko, and then I'm with you.
So, and then you got let's see, is this? So they don't have line A in here.
Oh, he's on the roster.
Is he?
Might be the guy out.
He may be hurt because
he's not. He was playing for Montreal.
He's not hurt. He just hasn't. He doesn't have any points in like the last 10 games.
So they got down the middle. And then the third line be Rupe Hintz, Puljujarvi, and Turbo.
Jesse Puljujarvi is not on this roster.
Did he make the team?
No, he's not on this roster.
So anyway, so take him off and put line A in there in that spot. Then
I was gonna say,
and then
Jesse Puljujarvi is not on this roster.
Then Lundell, Joel Armia, and Luosterainen. So
that has Turbo being the odd man out. So line A for Puljujarvi, that would be the switch.
Yeah.
And then Turbo, I don't foresee Turbo being the odd man out.
I don't either.
I think
I think Armia.
They play him.
I think it's gonna be like Eric Holla, because Eric Holla is he on the same roster you're looking at, Kyle? Because he's on the one I'm looking at.
He is.
So I think he's probably the odd man out because they have an extra centerman, basically.
All 11 points for Eric Holla this year through 45 games. That's impressive right there.
So we'll see. It should. I'm looking forward to seeing the game and how it's played. Do you expect it to be physical, or do you expect it just to be sort of a wide open 3-on-3, just a flowy kind of game? What do you expect out of it?
This is gonna be, I think, genuinely speaking, and as bad as this sounds, I'm gonna knock on wood and everything. This is gonna be a bloodbath. Like genuinely speaking, yes, it's gonna be unbelievably good hockey. These guys want to win so freaking bad. I have no doubt. That's all they've been talking about. They've been talking about 4 nations. They've been talking about playing with the best players. They're talking about doing all. This is not going to be your all-star game experience. This is not going to be a no contact where everybody's just trying to make it through the experience tournament. No, this is going to be, in my opinion, maybe not directly like Stanley Cup final playoff level hockey. Give me first round, probably same intensity as the first round. I think it's going to be that kind of level, especially any team that plays Team USA, because I'm thinking that both the Chuck brothers are going to be the wingers for a line. I don't know who the hell is going to center that line, but good God. Could you
put Austin Matthews at the center?
So I think Matthews is going to be the first line guy with Hughes and with Eichel, which that line is going to be freaking ridiculous. Like,
I think Hughes needs to play third line. I don't think Hughes is that good.
You
man.
don't think Jack Hughes is that good?
Jack Hughes. No, he's not better than Matthew Tkachuk. There's no way. No shot, man.
I wonder how many.
Well, you telling me? Okay, let me kind of frame a question here. If the Canes had, and this is going back to the Canes, if the Canes had the option to get Jack Hughes or Matthew Tkachuk, who are you picking?
This is a different thing because
I'm picking Tkachuk
because
today, tomorrow, twice next Sunday, and then the Sunday after that too. And it's not even a question.
But when you have both those guys on the same roster, out of the two of them, the one that's going to complement Austin Matthews more is going to be Jack Hughes. I think.
Is it though?
I personally do.
I don't know. I think Tkachuk is a really good distributor of the puck. I think he's going to find Matthews in those soft spots.
Do you think he's a better distributor of the puck than Jack Hughes?
I think so.
Jack Hughes is ranked in like a top 5 player in the NHL by most people.
In a tough game, in a hard pressed physical game, I would say yes. I would say he's in a free flowing game. Jack Hughes he's got skill beyond belief. There's no doubt.
if it's 3-on-3 open ice,
Yeah,
you know,
I would
Jack
agree with you
Hughes
there,
for sure.
Kyle. But
For sure.
in the trenches down below the goal line, I don't think there's anybody better than Matthew Tkachuk.
I know.
There's
Okay,
not.
I 100% agree with you there. He's going to be a
Okay.
trenches warfare guy, 100%. Eichel does that already. Plus, good God, how fun would it be to see both of the Tkachuk brothers on the same line, just wrecking heads and
I agree.
smashing skulls?
Yeah.
It'd be the Hanson brothers. It'd be
I would-
Slapshot
It'd be crazy
2.0.
line.
Oh, I don't know who the centers are for Team USA. I'm gonna go take a peek right now, but whoever.
You'd almost want it to be.
Yeah, no, the center was supposed to be JT Miller. You imagine that wrecking unit?
I don't know if I'd love that line.
I
but
would, just for the
there's
pure
I don't know.
entertainment.
I think they should
purposes.
put. I think they need like a bona fide goal scorer as the center, like somebody that's just going to pot the puck, because the other two are going to do the work. I mean, they're going to be
Mhm.
buzzsaw, board battles, and they just need a guy who's going to kind of float and be in the right place at the right time. Not that JT Miller can't, but
But Austin
I'm-
Matthews
like,
can.
Austin Matthews will always be in the right place
Yep.
at the right time.
Yep.
Like that's the other thing too, is like you put those three together. I don't know who stops that. Like, what defense pairing in Canada is going to stop that, or what line is going to stop that on Canada?
Cale Makar,
Nobody.
Devon Taves, the two best defensemen
Yeah,
arguably in the world.
I would say that
They'd be the only
they'd
two.
be the
Yeah.
only
So
two.
if they're
Yeah.
going to mismatch up there in Canada,
I mean, their second
they're-
unit is Drew Doughty and who's the second defenseman that's with them? Left shot. Oh,
I don't even know.
I'll find it.
Yeah, but even them. I mean, Doughty's good.
I mean, but even them, man. I mean, like I obviously have a lot of respect for Canada, but they're not winning this tournament. It's not. No, the U.S. is going to win this tournament.
Travis Sanheim, or no, sorry, Shea Theodore will be the second pairing defenseman alongside.
Yeah, no way, man. They're going to get their boat raced by that line. They're going to get run over. It's not going to be close.
Well,
so
okay, so then I have a counter question for you, because I think that the USA's weakest part of their game is actual defense, because we have so many offensive-minded defensemen that I'm like, so our first is predicted. Slavin's going to be on our USA's third D pairing. So the first D pairing is supposed to be Quinn Hughes and Charlie McAvoy.
Oh, I forgot about that. Well, Hughes is he's missed the last 4 or 5 games. He might not even play.
I don't know.
Who was their seventh guy that they were bringing for a defenseman?
I'm looking now. Hold on. Currently, give me 1 second. I'll name them all here.
Because
it's Werenski, Faber, Hannafin, Fox, McAvoy, Hughes, and Slavin.
That's right.
Yeah, Hannafin's going to be the extra guy.
Hannafin would be the guy, and so he's a little bit. I mean, obviously he's offensive, but he's a bigger frame, so he's going to be more beneficial defensively than I think Hughes would be. Now, it's not disrespect to Hughes. Quinn Hughes is very good. So I think out of the three, that's definitely the weakest point. But I don't know. I mean, even I think at weak, it's still very strong.
It is.
So compared to some of these other nations,
because your second pairing you're looking at is Werenski and Faber, two offensively minded guys. That's where I struggle with it. Hughes and McAvoy. McAvoy is a good two-way defenseman, but he's still way more offensively minded than he is defensively minded. The only really defensive powerhouse you have in your lineup is Jacob Slavin. Where you look at Team Canada, they got Drew Doughty, who, love him or hate him, he's a defensive unit. Like he is a horse back there. When you get in the D zone, you can beat him on the rush because he is lacking a little bit of the foot speed that he used to have. But in the D zone, he's one of the best. They have Colton Parayko right up there. He's also in the flat out D zone. He's a lot like Brett Pesce. You can beat him with speed. You can beat him with a lot of stuff. But once you get into the D zone, his D zone coverage is really good.
Being with speed, with passing, with fake with anything. You beat him with anything other than if he's parked in one spot and he's just sitting there trying to block pucks.
I'll disagree with that. I think he's better than Pesce in a lot of regards. But
I agree. Yeah, there's a reason Pesce isn't playing.
Well, yeah, he'd also be on USA as well too. I don't think he's beating out any USA
there's a reason
guys.
He's not playing.
But also, Shea Theodore is a dog defensively. Cale Makar is a dog defensively. Devon Taves is a dog defensively. I mean, so that's what I'm saying is I 100% agree. I don't think Canada's D-core is as strong on paper as USA's D-core or maybe even Sweden's D-core, but I think they have a lot of stuff that USA is missing, and I think that that's going to be the struggle. Is while yes, we have Connor Hellebuck behind us, if he's facing 45 grade A, like if he's facing 45 shots and half of them are grade A's, that's going to be an issue for Team USA.
Yeah, I think my only point there, Kyle, is I think Canada built their team in such a way because they were lacking in the goaltending department. I think that's the reason they structured it that way. They had to get defensively strong.
Well, I guess
And
then
they
who's
couldn't
a defenseman on a Canadian defenseman that you would take over the guys that you're taking now?
There isn't. Like I agree, but that's based off of how the games are going to go. Like they're going to be kind of hemmed in quite a bit of the game, especially
Yeah.
against the US.
But in general, I think
So-
they took their 7 best defensemen. I don't think it was like they built their decor around being, we're gonna struggle defensively,
That's a good point.
or we're gonna struggle in
Yeah,
net. So
fair
I gotta all of a sudden take these guys. I think they just picked their 7 best defensemen. It's just that
Well,
their
yeah,
defensive.
Petrangelo kind of bowed out as well, which is why they took Doughty.
That
so
one to me is like wild because he's playing,
That's an
but
interesting
he
one.
just
He's
decided
been
that the
playing.
Stanley Cup is more important than the Four Nations, which some guys probably feel that way.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean,
fair.
it's his
That's
choice,
100%. And for all the Team Canada pundits that are like ripping him apart for it, it's like you replaced him with Drew Doughty. It's not like you downgraded. Like, let's chill out. Like, he's fine. Like, you're.
Now, if Doughty would have still been hurt and they pulled up like Evan Bouchard,
Oh, that hurts.
I get it. I get this. I get
if they would have
rip
pulled
him
up
I
Evan
get that,
Bouchard
'cause, man,
over
that Evan Bouchard
over
guy,
Anderson out of
we talked about
Calgary,
this.
I would have lost my mind
Yeah.
because that Anderson guy in Calgary is 10 times better than Evan Bouchard is. So if that would have been the
I know.
swap, yeah, that would have been a gong show. But
that would have been the Achilles heel for Canada of all time. That would have been the biggest fumble of all
Yeah.
time. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this yesterday. How basically, like, the biggest smokescreen job that's ever been done in the NHL was probably Evan Bouchard with the Oilers getting that extension. Like he's just, I don't know what kind of magic or who he, possessed or conjured or whatever to give him that extension. I mean, he obviously played really well through the playoffs when they made it to the Cup final, but
he's
since that
he's
point,
awful
man, he's
now.
been one of the worst defensemen on the Oilers.
he
man.
played well offensively in the playoffs. That's what everybody's like. They're blowing their cap because they're like, oh, he was so good in playoffs. Yeah, offensively he was good, sure. Defensively, he's always been a massive liability, like just flat out. So it's like now that the offense isn't coming, everybody's seeing the defensive mistakes because he's not putting up 4 points a game. Or he's not having a 4-point night where he's just passing the puck to McDavid on the power play and letting McDavid walk through 4 guys and score. Like it's the same reason why Darnell Nurse, you're a defenseman for Connor McDavid. You're gonna get 50 points if you just dish him the puck on the breakout. Like he will go down the whole ice and go give you a secondary assist. Like he will walk everybody and give you a secondary assist for passing him the puck in your own zone. So that's the same reason. Look at Darnell Nurse. Why is he signed to a $9 million a year contract? Because for 1 year, right before his contract year, he got to dish the puck to Connor McDavid on the power play. He got to dish him the puck on the breakout. He was the number 1 guy. That's what happens when you're in Edmonton. You're going to end up signing guys to bad contracts because they're playing with guys like Connor McDavid. And all of a sudden, it's just like you put them on a different lineup and they are terrible.
But yeah, no, sorry to get us off track. But yeah, Four Nations is going to be fun. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, I'm hoping for everybody to come out unscathed and everybody kind of just can battle it out for what they want to win for it. So, but yeah, I have like Finland's going to be a sneaky good team. I think people are really underestimating because I think, again, outside of the US, I think a lot of these teams are going to rely on their top 2 lines. I don't think you're going to see. I mean, you're going to see some of the third and fourth line, obviously, but they're not going to roll lines.
Sweden has the capability to, just because they're deeper than Canada is, in my opinion, offensively. Thing that somebody said it to me.
There's one guy on Sweden that's going to ruin it for everybody. So I think we all know who that is. So
hey, you never know. This could be a perfect thing for him at this point. But the thing with Canada, and somebody said it, Canada's top-end talent is arguably better than anybody else's top-end talent, but their low-end talent is worse than everybody else's low-end talent.
By quite a big margin.
Outside of maybe Finland, quote-unquote, because you do have Eric Haula, who has 11 points through 47 games. That's how is he on team
Enough
Finland.
said.
Yeah, Kokoniemi's got more points. That says something.
Yeah.
I love KK, but that says something.
Well, we'll see, and then 4 seasons we'll probably do a little bit of a wrap on that one or a review of that one next weekend since we don't have much to talk about Canes wise.
Oh,
So we'll jump back
the
on that.
Canes players and stuff like that
Yeah.
next week.
So we'll do a special edition next weekend. But anyways, we're getting to that hour mark. So let's jump off, do our 3 stars and then wrap for the week. What do you guys think about that?
Yep. Sounds good.
So who would like to? Well, Kyle, you went first last week. So Cam, if you got somebody in mind, just I know it's kind of a train wreck of a week, a little bit up and down, but so if you were to give 3 stars, who would you give them to this week?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably just going to base it off of the last game because the other two, they scored 1 goal and everybody looked pretty poor. So, I mean, I have to put, I mean, for number 3, I'm going to try and go with 1 defenseman, 2 forwards here. So I think Sean Walker's played out of his mind. I think a lot of people disrespect Sean Walker and like how good he's actually been for the Canes. I think he's played really well, consistently
I'm super
well.
happy he signed a
No.
multiple-year contract.
I am too. Like I think a lot of people don't see, and then maybe they see the poor play or the the -1 on the score sheet, but he's also playing with Ghost, who I think has not played very well
Since coming back from injury.
Exactly, since coming back from injury. So I think even though the points aren't there, I think just as an all out and out defenseman, I think Walker's played really well. Again, no disrespect to Chatfield either. Chatfield's played out of his mind against Utah, but I also think he had some spotty games the last 2.
Mm-hmm.
So out of the consistency factor, I think Walker's been probably the most consistent defenseman outside of Slavin, probably. But outside of that, I mean, you go with, I think Aho played well last night for sure. He'd be probably my number 2. Number 1 is Jarvis for sure. I think he's played really well, pretty consistent. I mean, he didn't play horrible in Winnipeg or Minnesota, but just didn't get any points. So, but yeah, no, I think those are my 3 for this week.
Dad, I'm gonna have you go first.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm gonna have you go before me. I got some good ones lined up here.
Yeah. So, I think E for effort in the first 2 games, maybe. We'll give Roddy a little pull on that one, but I think I'll base mine purely on last night's game, because I didn't really see much out of anybody of any great deal in the first 2 games. So I don't disagree with you on Walker or Cam as an overall perspective, but I thought just last night alone, I thought Chatfield was probably close. Could have been the first star. He played that well. He blocked shots. He created turnovers. He played out of his mind and
Carried the pairing.
yeah.
For
So
sure.
I'm going to give Chatfield number 3, and then from the standpoint of I wish I could get Jarvis 1 and 2 because I think he was by far our best player yesterday. I think Aho had a great game. So I'm going to go that. I'm going to go Aho 2 and Jarvis number 1 because for a lot of reasons, but I think alone, let alone the first pass, I think it was the first or second goal to Aho. That backhand pass through traffic under.
Shorthanded
I mean, it
goal.
was that
Yeah.
shorthanded goal was, my opinion, one of the best passes of the year so far. Just created an opportunity out of nothing. So Seth Jarvis, Aho, and Jalen Chatfield.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think Chatty had a great night. A little bit of backstory. I was in the Xbox chat yesterday, ripping him apart, saying he's not
You were.
offensively talented. Like, he just throws pucks away. He just flings pucks into the offensive zone. Doesn't really try to make a play. Ends up having an unbelievable night. So apparently, he was listening to our Xbox chat, which is a touch scary. So, but he's not in my 3 stars. I just wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out. 3rd star, Sebastian Aho. This is majority based on the last game. I think he's starting to come out of his shell. I think 4 Nations is going to also be very crucial for him, especially if he keeps playing the way he is right now. 2nd star, Seth Jarvis had an unbelievable night last night. I thought he played okay in Winnipeg. Thought he played okay in Minnesota, but nobody really played all that great in either one of those games. So he is my 2nd star. And my 1st star is going to the Carolina Hurricanes medical staff. I don't know how we rostered players all week and kept a full lineup in. But hey, hats off to you guys. That whatever the go juice you guys had going was, yeah, we didn't come out on the winning end, but the fact that we had a bug going around the locker room basically the whole week. Rod on Sunday didn't know who was going to be playing. Tuesday was still carrying over. Guys didn't feel well. Thursday finally seemed like it was flushing out of the locker room. Hats off to the medical staff. You guys do really good work, and you deserve your plaudits as well too. So good job, you guys. But yeah, I wanted to give them some props. But yeah, hell of a week for those guys.
I like it. Actually, I like it. I hadn't really thought about it like that, but yeah, no, the behind the scenes guys are as critical as the guys putting the puck in the net, or at least trying to anyway.
Yep.
So yeah, good call on that.
We could have had a whole entire Chicago roster for a couple of those games. So the fact that we rostered an NHL lineup, and we you know what, came out of good ends of not good ends, but we put up good battles in most of those games. So hey, hats off to them. Also, the other thing too, Carolina through their last 10 games, even though being on just a 3-game losing streak, is still 6-3-1 in their last 10. So let's take everything with a grain of salt. They were on a winning streak before they lost. So chill out. We're fine.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we'll close it there. And again, to everybody that's made it this far, we really do appreciate it. So keep pushing us along, and subscribe if you haven't, or if you have somebody that you think may like it, send it along to them and have them subscribe. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, and we're going to try to bring you as much as we can, as often as we can. So we do appreciate it, and we hope everybody has a great week.